Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tony King. I'm a photographer and welcome to a behind the album video where I'm delving into images from a specific photo album. Photo albums are what I post that have my comprehensive work, and I keep good track of everything. I give scores, and if you ever see one that you want me to talk about, go ahead and mention that in the comments and I'll certainly get to it. But today we're going to do photo album 93, snapshots from the road, technically Atlanta, Georgia, but also not Atlanta, Georgia, because on the road we were driving towards North Carolina. So I definitely get out of the city in these images. So I took this on December 5th, 2024. So we're going back quite a bit. On the EPL3, there were 30 images selected for this and only 6 became postable or keepers, but that overall gives it a score of 20 flat. So just 20. And that's honestly a pretty high score, pretty good ratio to get 6 out of 30 that I was happy with. So today I'm going to be talking about 5 of those, and let's get straight into it. First, I think there's a nice composition here between the right lane ends and the yield sign, creating a nice diagonal through the image. The clouds do look nice, but mostly I just like the overarching scale to this image. You can tell the yield sign is closer. They're all in focus though. So I think overall that aspect is really nice. There's something compelling to me about this image. It's not like a portfolio worthy or anything shot, but it is something that I think has some interest. Maybe if there's like a plane or a bird or something in the upper side of the image, it would be improved though. Next, we're looking at just urban architecture of Atlantic Station in Atlanta as we're driving past exit 84. And I think the reflection on the window, because I'm shooting obviously out of the car, matched with the shape of the Amley building there is really compelling. Had this bright spot on the left side that's going diagonally up the way. The empty road is also interesting, almost dystopian in a way. And overall, like seeing this particular quote unquote skyline, I mean, you can call it a skyline, I think is interesting. So it gives a feeling not of any particular point in time because there are no cars or identifying factors. It's just buildings that could be contemporary. They could also be 30, 40 years old. They also could be from the future. So I think that's an interesting part of this image to me. Next, really nice Z-axis with the guardrail going down into oblivion in the image almost. And then I think the fall colors of the trees there are just super nice, super beautiful. And what really sells it to me is this really soft focus on the foreground. There's these like little wooden leaves that my wife has hanging off her rear view mirror that I made for her. And I think that just adds a little bit of depth and cinematic quality to this image. Sometimes when I'm watching movies, I say like, why are the windshields so clean? Like they would never be so easy to look through. Here it looks perfectly clean. So good on my wife, let's say that. And yeah, overall really nice soft focus that adds a cinematic quality to this image. Another one that I really like that has the strong Z-axis is of this like roadwork area. Obviously slowed us down, which sucks, but the smoke coming up off the roadwork part of this, I think adds a really nice haze to the image. At the bottom, you can see that I'm still using foreground, like the dashboard, but the Z-axis here and the orange really sticking out from everything is super compelling. And I think there's a very recognizable but also grungy urban nature to this image that really sticks out to me as being quite nice. And again, another photo that uses those green and orange leaves that I made for my wife that she has hanging from the rear view mirror as a foreground object, but much more out of focus this time. And I just think it adds a little bit of texture to the front. And then we have a bridge going over, but it's all out of focus. Really, nothing's in focus here. I think what I really like of this image is the feeling that it gives it. You recognize it in a way, and it feels like a vibe more than just like having to be a perfect image. The blue of the sky is really nice. The clouds are interesting enough, although I don't think those are in focus either, but just something recognizable in an interesting shape that speaks to me in a way as a feeling. It's more abstract in nature, but not everything I do is the exact same. So going for some of these abstract photos is also something that I'm trying to work on. And that's it for photo album 93. If you want to see all the images from that photo album, I'll have that linked in the description and a playlist with all my photo albums. So be sure to check that out. Again, if you ever see a photo album that you're interested in a little bit more background on some of the images on or the context, let me know. I will get around to it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe to the channel to stick around for more. I've been Tony King. I'll see you next time.